Kia ora, welcome to Politics from Canterbury, a show about politics, and we are doing it from Canterbury. Today we've got Mike Davidson. We're wrapping up Ireland. I know you might be a bit sick of Ireland. We do live here and we want to make a little bit of a show of it. So Mike Davidson represents the Greens. We've also got Liam Foster, renowned student of history, not an actual historian. That's an in-joke, sorry. Mike, you're standing for the Greens. The poster behind you has your face on it. We haven't seen a lot of those. Explain why.
Well, I guess part of the reason is I'm really focused on the party vote. And so I'm not out there pushing myself. This is not about me. This is about party and making a change. And actually, if we get a really good party vote, actually I can come off the list and represent Ireland and the whole of Christchurch. And I also think I've got a few of these posters, and I reckon by just having a few, they'll become a limited edition and they'll be sought after. So trade me's coming.
Well, we're not funding your campaign here, Mike. We're politically neutral. The Greens aren't just going for the party vote in some areas, though. They're also going for the electorate vote. So where's the cutoff, and why is, I think it's Auckland Central, Wellington Central, Rongotai, and is it Mount Albert? So there's four. There's four. What was the cutoff?
Look, I think that's making sure that you've got the resources. There's no strict cutoff. Have you actually got a chance to win it? We don't want to actually split the vote and let a national person through. So it's actually looking at the resources. Is there a chance? And then putting a case forward to the campaign team and getting it approved. So in Christchurch, actually, we're just happy to go for the party vote because it's actually probably the better thing to do down here.
Mm-hmm. You don't think you win it? Okay, well, I'm going to ask you a political question. All right, Wellington Central, and we'll move on to some Christchurch issues, but Wellington Central, yep, fair enough. Highest Green Party vote, I believe, in New Zealand is actually in Wellington Central. Rongotai, yeah, not so bad. Quite a high party vote there as well. In fact, higher than Auckland Central, where Chloe won. But I'm just going to throw it out there. Ricardo Menendez March. Do you not you personally, does the Green Party honestly think Ricardo Menendez March is going to beat Helen White in Mount Albert?
Well, I guess we're going to find out on October the 14th, aren't we? And look, I actually think this is a really good test to see when you put four of these two-tick campaigns, actually what it does do to the party vote, and if it lifts the party vote, and potentially on the back of this, we could see more and more two-tick campaigns coming out. I think there's an appetite for it. And like if Ricardo doesn't win it, but actually does really well and increases the party vote, then hey, we may see something in Christchurch next election.
Okay, well, the Wellington Central one's interesting because I've been following that actually. And you've got a city councillor. So if the Green City Councillor wins it, the public of Wellington pick up 65,000 buck tab, I guess, for a by-election. But the other interesting thing there is then you've got the Labour candidate is actually, I believe it was at the start of the year, the list MP for Onehunga. Who knew that? Because actually Ibrahim Omar left Wellington and went up to Auckland and was a list MP in Auckland, but his name was still on the Wellington Central office of Grant Robertson. There was a story in the Post about that, by the way. It's not some inside knowledge. So anyway, I just thought it's funny because he's essentially running a campaign as the Wellington Central MP, but I don't know. I'd like to know when did Ibrahim Omar become not the list MP for Onehunga and the Wellington Central MP? And the other thing is, of those three candidates, only one of them is a public servant, which is the national guy. And Wellington's all about the public service, and he might just come through the middle there. So what's the strategy there?
Oh, look, I think when you look at Tam's voting record on council, actually her election, she is really liked in Wellington. And I think she's got an excellent opportunity to win that.
Well, they all three have, because it went. Ibrahim Omar was on about 31%. National Scots Sheeran was on 28%, and Tamitha was on about 26, 27. So they were all really
within the margin of error. Yeah, but I think this highlights, right, why should the Greens keep stepping away for Labour to have it for themselves? And we know with MMP, it's not the candidate vote that's important; it's the party vote.
No, the Greens have got the mongrel. The carca is rearing its claws.
Yeah, so I think really, look, we take these 4 two-tick campaigns. If it shows it doesn't hurt the party vote, I think we should be doing more of it across the country.
How receptive do you think the island voters would be to the Green Party vote? How receptive have you found them?
Oh, I think there's a bit of a movement towards the Greens. I'm picking it up on doorsteps. People actually are liking our policy, our plan, and I'm confident the Greens are going to do quite well in Ireland. There was a recent poll from Curia that had us sitting at 15%. We did 10% last election. So it'd be really good if we can get up to 15% in Ireland.
And the Greens were always very strong in Ireland. You may remember a famous Green MP, Kennedy Graham, used to represent this area.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Kennedy is still in the Greens. He was mainly famous for, stabbing Materia Ture in the front and the back and wherever over the...
When was this?
This was 2017 election.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so Kennedy Graham went and took his press release down to the... the gallery and said, I don't agree with what they've done. Anyway, it was a bit of a ruckus.
We've moved forward.
We've
moved forward as a team, and we're actually looking really good at the moment.
Well, let's get to something.
This is all over my head.
Let's get to something safer. Safer.
Good.
Here we go. Look, we are in Christchurch, and a big issue down here is water. And don't turn off if because it could be a big issue all around New Zealand. Mike, could you just briefly explain? All our water's chlorinated. You can't even have a glass of water down at our local park a couple 100 metres away anymore because of, is it Tamata Arawai, the new water regulator? Just fill us in on that, because it's a bit of an island electorate issue. And
yeah, it definitely is. And we picked that up at the Avonhead debate, where it was one of their top issues, the chlorination of water. And obviously, I think it's really important that council deliver safe, clean drinking water. And actually, as a city, that's what the council has done for many, many, many years, including during the earthquake, when the water network was actually really badly impacted. We still delivered drinking water that no one got sick from, because we actually chlorinated it at the time. Havelock North obviously came along. Different story. People got really sick.
It was a false flag. It was no, sorry. We're not Alex jokes. That was a joke too far.
They're making the frogs gay.
And so anyhow, they realised actually there's a problem here, and some councils weren't doing the right job. So they actually put in a water regulator, put some rules in place that councils have to follow. And part of that was, hey, you've got to chlorinate your water. Here's an exemption you can work towards, and then you can take your chlorine out.
Yeah.
So council has been investing like millions and millions and millions of dollars doing that. However, when they get pretty close to it, the water regulator goes, yeah, well, actually, we've changed it slightly. Now you've got to do this, and it just moved the goalposts. And so one of the things that council had in two places, in Burnside Park and at Keys in New Brighton, were directly from the pumps, the wells, some water taps to actually let people from the community grab the water with no chlorine in. They obviously got a bit of a message and therefore locked them all up. So took that away from the community.
Broke his heart.
That did break my heart. That's why I'm a single issue fanatic now.
Look, and I went to that pump station, to those water taps, and filled up and got water ourselves, because actually I prefer to have no chlorine in my water, and I know that our water is safe. It comes from some very deep aquifers. That's very old water. And so I personally think the council should have pushed back.
Yeah.
Like, they should have pushed back and actually not done it and test actually what was going to happen, because what they could have just done was said, this is not for drinking, this is not drinking water, because, and then put the onus
warning
back, put the onus back on the person taking it, because actually some people don't get it for drinking water. They may get it for their household plants or other things that actually don't want chlorine in the water. So I think it was a bit of an error from the councillors not to actually say to the team, no, we don't want this. We actually want to push back and not do it, and take it to the regulator.
Well, I just think it was a good local issue, and there was I think it should be talked about a bit more in Christchurch. And now let's go a bit broader. Sorry, I just want to. There was a rather boring debate. We don't want to get into the debate. But we live in an MMP environment, but the smaller parties have never really got much of a chance. And I always wonder, is it because once you get into an election, the big newspapers and state TV have these debates where they treat it like it's a first past the post and it's 1975. I was watching that debate, and it's all National and Labour, and you barely get a mention of the smaller parties. So what often happens is the smaller parties, like whether it's ACT or the Greens, they're quite high, and then as the election goes along, all the news focus becomes National and Labour, and then it turns into pushes their mum.
Yeah. 100% agree with you, right? Like MMP's been in since what 96. Lots of education done at that point. Nothing since then. And it's a new generation now. But when we're having just the two major party leaders debating and no one else there, people don't realise, I think, what MMP is really about. And I reckon a lot of this goes back to when Peter Dunne had the worm going in his favour and helped him.
Yeah,
and since then, they've pulled out those other leaders and are just focusing on National and Labour, and that is actually not good for MMP and democracy in general.
So what's the worm?
So the worm was basically there was a big leaders debate, and it was the 2002 election, and they had this new electoral thing where people in the audience had to say if they liked or disliked what someone said, and it would go up and down, and it looked a bit like a worm. And because Peter Dunne just said really centrist stuff, because he's quite a centrist politician, people quite liked it, because I think it was Clark and maybe Helen Clark and Bill English, and they were sort of attacking each other, and Peter Dunne was being nice and centrist, and the worm was going, ooh. and Peter Dunne was the master of the worm. But he basically after that, there was too many small parties, and I think that as a journalist, the one thing, it's quite boring trying to write all the different parties in.
Yeah.
But they provide good copy, and I, for one, would like to see Liz Gunn and New Zealand Loyal on a debate, and they could explain why they didn't get any. Did you see the story about Liz Gunn? No. Liz Gunn and New Zealand Loyal didn't get any. They've got no MPs basically. Not MPs. Sorry, they've got no candidates standing in electorates because they didn't get their forms in correctly to the electoral commission. Liz Gunn is standing.
Yeah.
So they won't. But if in the unlikely event that New Zealand Loyal got like 5%, right, they would end up with Liz Gunn and no one else.
No, two. They got two. They got three in. They got three registered, but one resigned.
Yeah.
So they're down to two. And big stuffer.
Anyway, so that's why I think we should have more people, because I would like to get everyone involved.
And I think we saw from that debate, it was just boring, right? There were two people that pretty much the same. Well, they're not offering anything different to the people of.
The thing that I found the most interesting with that debate was when they asked when you bought your first house, and Chris Luxon talked about he was 24, and then Chris Hipkins said he was also 24, unless I misheard and he was 34, but it sounded a lot 24, like 24. Yeah. 24. So they both had their first house at 24, and Chris Hipkins got 3 houses, and Chris Luxon's got 7 houses, and they both hate wealth taxes and capital gains taxes. So
they both recycle.
They do both recycle for the planet.
Yeah, for the planet, recycle.
Were there any highlighted heated moments?
No.
You know what I mean? Moments of highlight.
No, they asked that question that they ask in American debates. Right at the start, Jessica Mutch goes, what would you like the most about your opponent? It's just like, it's so kumbaya. It's like when Donald Trump said, well, I like the way Hillary Clinton's a mum before he wanted to lock her up and put her in jail.
So it was more just the colour purple rather than...
Yeah, no, it was your colour purple there, Liam.
Yeah, but I think this is why we're seeing the Greens and ACT doing so well, right? We've got the major parties, they're just not offering anything and they're not different, right? So actually, you got to look to the Greens and you got to look to ACT, who will be their coalition partner. They are the ones that are actually offering something that's not just the status quo of what we've seen for many, many years.
Okay, let's have a quick prediction. We'll have a quick prediction round to wrap this up.
Yep.
Liam.
Ladies first, yep.
Liam, yeah, nice moustache, Liam.
That's a beautiful
what's your prediction for the next week or so of politics? What would you like to see, mate?
What would I like to see? I'd like to see something exciting. I think kind of like your debate, I'm just kind of bored with it and haven't, you know what I mean? You two are obviously much more involved in it than I am. Something to actually care about and be concerned about, because so far it just seems like it doesn't matter which party gets in, it's going to be much of the same. So yeah, something.
I think it could be quite different if ACT and National get in.
Oh well, how do I put it? Just because both parties plan to take from the climate change dividend, right?
Yeah.
The pot.
So you want to see something to do with climate change?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, why not?
Okay, Mike, what would you like to see there?
Oh, well, just over the next week.
Yeah, just in the next couple of weeks. You would.
Well, look, I would love to see a discussion focused on climate change. You know, I'd love to see a debate and have the 4 major leaders up there discussing climate change, and actually then have some experts to say if they can deliver it, right? So National's very happy to say, well, they're all about climate change and getting to the goals. Well, where's their plan and evidence to show they can do it? They just gaslight. So I'd like to see a debate on climate, on nature, and I'd like to actually see it not just between Chris and Chris, but bring in some of the other leaders. Bring in David, bring in James. Let's actually have a proper debate with everyone and see actually who's got the plan to actually make a difference.
Why weren't they there? Sorry, the other two.
Well, there's a debate tonight. There's a debate tonight with them. We're recording this on Thursday. We'll probably put it up on a Friday or Saturday because we're not the most hardworking. We've got other jobs and stuff to do. But there's a debate tonight, which is the minor leaders debate, and something exciting might happen there. Here's my pick for what I want to see in the next week. I want to see people be more honest in the media, and I want people to say,
100.
looking at the polls, nothing's really going to change, and nothing has changed unless someone does something wickedly awful and just say, look, it's pretty much done and dusted. It's just a little fight around.
Can I challenge you there?
Yeah, you can. Well, you can challenge me. I want to be challenged with that
You say
provocative
the
statement.
polls are all the same. Have you not seen the trending up of the Green Party over the last eight weeks? Like, you look at how they're going.
No. What I'm saying is the basic polls, like this far out. Like what I'm saying is, we're recording this on the 21st of September, and there's a Varian poll, and I don't think there's going to be much difference between now and the general election and that Varian poll. I think New Zealand First going to be a little bit above 5%, National be a high 30s, Labour high 20s. That's my guess.
X got my dad's vote, sadly.
Well,
And
I
X
tell you what, I
got
reckon the Roy Morgan poll, which will probably come out next week,
Yeah.
the Greens will be above 13%.
Okay.
That's
right.
There we go. Greens above 13%. Thanks for that, Mike. Thank you very much, Liam. Thank you very much, Mike.
you.
That was us.